Welcome to This Week in Guns, a podcast that covers the commentary on the latest firearms industry news, information, and buzz. Brought to you by the Firearms Radio Network. I'm your host, Jake Shannon from Gun Guy Radio, and you make this show possible. That's right, you simply click through our Amazon affiliate link the next time you're shopping online, and a small portion of your sale goes to supporting pro-gun shows like This Week in Guns. Well, we have a great, small, but great panel, fantastic panel. That's terrible. So I got to meet these guys in person for the first time at the NRA show in Nashville. I got to meet Josh Cast of Four Guys Guns. Hey, Josh.
Hey, Jake. Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
And he sounds like that in real life as well. And also got to meet John Patton of Patton Media Consulting, and I'm with Chaos YouTube channel. Hey, John.
Hi, Jake. How are you, buddy?
Doing great. Apparently I'm taller in real life, too.
Yes.
Wicked tall.
Jake was way taller than I thought he would be. It's all about this camera angle that we see every week.
Yeah.
I'm like amazed at how many people I've met like that do media in the firearms industry that end up being freaking Wookiees. You're all like 6'9", and I'm just rolling in at 5'10.5". Never looks good.
Hey,
Jake is not 6'9".
Yeah.
7, whatever.
I'm only 6'1". So, okay, announcements. Tough Mudder running Tough Mudder Chicago with the Gunrunner team. If you're interested in running with us, email Carol at fat2fithq.com. So let's get into the top stories this week. Actually, first I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about NRA, your impressions of the show. I mean, our first story here is how it drew 78,695 supporters to Nashville. So, I mean, that's pretty incredible. Almost 80,000 people. Did it seem that packed to you guys?
Yes. It felt very, very packed the first day especially. What do you think, Josh?
I think it was, again, that outer perimeter. The way that show is laid out, it's like people would walk in and they'd immediately turn right, and it just turned into a NASCAR. Like, everyone kept turning left around the perimeter. Once you got inside the heart of, all the smaller companies, I found it fairly easy to move around, especially that versus, like, say, first 2 days of SHOT Show where there's, like, hundreds of thousands of people there.
Yeah. I don't know. I thought I think you're definitely right. The outer perimeter was really, really clogged up, and it definitely seemed that Saturday was crazy. It was super, super busy. But I think there was definitely, you could kind of still get around. It's not like SHOT Show is huge. It's absolutely massive. I mean, if you try to walk SHOT Show, you're never going to be able to do it in 1 week. Whereas this is a weekend event, and I felt like we could have lapped that place 20 times.
Oh, yeah, and I think we did, too. And one of the cool parts was I think we figured out, or we saw statistics somewhere, that by comparison, so SHOT Show, for those of you that have never been or would like to go, if you want to see every booth at SHOT Show, you have to start at the opening buzzer, first day, at the first booth, and you're allowed 20 seconds per booth. If you stop at each booth for 20 seconds, from start to finish, every day, you'll be able to see, over 4 days, you'll be able to see all of SHOT Show. NRA convention, we saw most of it on the first day. And the second day, we were just kind of touching up where we didn't see. And then third day, it was really just, let's go back and see this, let's go back and see how we were able to pick and poke and really kind of focus and hone in. The one thing that I did have as a takeaway was much more personal, much more FaceTime. And because I didn't have like this thing that said Whitey and my hair was all did and silly and I didn't look all super tactical, a lot of people didn't know me, which was really great because I found SHOT Show, not that I'm like some big celebrity at all, but when you're out there on YouTube, you're out there on Facebook, eventually, the pool eventually gets smaller. But nobody like knew me, which was awesome because it allowed me to get a lot more genuine reactions out of manufacturers, their marketing teams, owners of companies, and I met a lot of cool people I didn't even know. They knew the company, which was cool, but didn't know me, whether it be appearance or the fact that I'm chubbier in real life. Who knows? I think face value, I think NRA was definitely a much more of a user-friendly as opposed to, it's sales, what's it called? SHOT Show is like the Catalina wine mixer. I mean, that's where everyone's getting their nut for the year. So, what did you think, Jake?
Yeah, it was a lot more personable, and it was kind of cool to see, the general public going through there and their reactions to products that have been on the market a while, maybe, or even new stuff like the Taurus Curve. It was funny seeing people go up to it and at the same time seeing the pitch being made from the Taurus representatives of how revolutionary the Taurus Curve is and how safe it is, because you can put this key in it and it makes it completely safe for kids.
The key. You could buy stuff too. That was the other cool part. So if you saw something you liked it, and it's really interesting to be able to see that dynamic between consumer and manufacturer that a lot of media does. The media in the know, so to speak. They live in the world of here's what's coming out, here's the new thing, here's what's coming out. I basically explained to some older guy. There's even a picture on Instagram where I'm tagged, where I'm explaining to like this, I want to say 65, 70-year-old man in like BDU camo, all about the war sport rifle. So those that don't know war sports, fairly higher end rifle, nothing too super fancy about it. Really good barrel, really iconic rail. Solid built piece of machinery, but it's also very, very flat shooting, like so damn flat shooting. And this guy had never seen it before, never dealt with it. Anybody in the firearms industry who like follows anything has at least once seen a war sport. This guy had no idea. And he's the kind of guy where he's like, oh, it's about $3,300. He's like, I'm good with my Delton. And it's like, hey, nailed it. Like, we got it. But it was really interesting to see that huge spectrum.
Yeah, and I think you saw some things you don't see at SHOT, like the collector's area. It had a pretty neat collector's area of just anything, really. But, I mean, they had World War I guns, World War II, Civil War. They had the Rock Island Auction Company with, guns that are going to be put up for auction here soon. And it was neat to see those pieces of history just right there in front of you. It was something else.
I think a large portion of why the show is so much friendlier to guys like us as part of the media is simply because we come from that same consumer perspective. We want to know a lot of the same information so that we can share it with the consumers. So they're typically on their game for that, as opposed to just making sales like Josh hinted at. I mean, that's, to me, it's a completely different mindset for the guys that are working the show. They're not there to sell, they're there to educate. And they're definitely it's definitely a lot more relaxed, which is cool. It's definitely a really good show. I felt like the reception was a lot friendlier. I don't know. It felt like a warmer environment, where SHOT Show is, get one in, the next guy in, just turn them out as quickly as you can, because there's so many media guys at SHOT trying to talk to these people while they're trying to sell. So it's a volume thing. They're trying to turn it around as quickly as they can. And where NRA is just not really that. They're there to talk to you. They're there to have a conversation and educate as best they can, and
At the same in the same tone, though, you gotta remember, like, at SHOT Shows, this is where a lot of stuff gets announced. That's like your E3, that's your what is it, the Detroit Car Show. That's where all the cool stuff is. That's what the timeline that manufacturers like. We got to have this ready by SHOT. Doesn't even matter if it comes out that year. It's got to be ready by SHOT. So I mean, that's the big showcase, and it makes sense. But I think we're all in agreement that definitely those products are either out or they're in production, and it's like, it's just informational. I think you nailed it spot on with that.
So, 78,000 supporters to the NRA show, and Mom's Demand Action drew 150 to Shannon Watch's speech, which I unfortunately missed.
Yeah, I didn't make that one.
Yeah, I really wish I would have known, but apparently they were trying to keep it a secret where they were going to meet. So that's why only 150 people showed up. They were, I guess it was like a last second, like, we're not going to tell anyone so the NRA doesn't stop us. They don't swarm our spot. So not only did they plan wherever this is, to be like a mile away from where the NRA convention was, where nobody cared, but then they didn't tell their own people about it, which is amazing.
Is that what happened? Is that what the article says? Was that they had a little slip up with the fact that they got approval from the city to go be in this space, and they had like a permit for it, and that didn't happen like the day before? Like, so that's what they're saying? Is that what the article says?
Word on the street, I don't know what the exact article, but I saw multiple places that they were not able to. They didn't release that information to their people that wanted to go prior to that event.
Gotcha. So, let's see.
So there is a YouTube video here if you guys want to see Shannon Watts' incredible speech. Well, she opens it up, talking about Wayne LaPierre's fear-mongering and everything, in which I almost have to agree with her on. There is a lot of fear-mongering coming out of the NRA. It has been for quite some time, and that's not really... I don't think that's something that's going to bode well for us long term. But the other thing she was talking about was how it grew from like a Facebook group or some kind of online group to 2.5 million members. She says they have 2.5 million members of Moms Demand Action.
See, I don't buy that number for 1 second,
No.
because I'm looking at their social media right now, and I'll tell you right now, she said in her speech that they had 2.5 whatever million signatures. That's not members. You can get that at a college campus telling people that, aren't guns bad? You should sign here. I don't buy it. I mean, you're telling me that 30.4K followers and tell you right now, if Moms Demand Attention. See, I always type that too, and it's not the right one. But it's like really. Here's my only opinion. 316,000. So they're a shade smaller on Facebook than Four Guys Guns themselves. So you're telling me of the 316,153 people who like Moms Demand Action and the 30.4K followers on Instagram, we couldn't get the message out. Couldn't do it with the thing that we had to get approval from the state to do. Got it. Now, my beef is waving these numbers around. So NRA drew 78,695. Moms Demand Action drew 150. Not really my style. I will brag to like John here and there about like something cool that happened to me or something cool that I'll be doing. Sometimes maybe even throw some salt in it. But publicly, you'll be hard pressed to find me like waving a "how awesome I am" flag. And this to me is just kind of it's news, but it's not really my style. That's my only beef with that article, so to speak.
I think what's interesting about Moms Demand Action is that all they do is posture.
Yeah.
Like there is no substance to that group. It's just constant posturing of we're going to take down the NRA, we're going to take down the gun lobby. How do you propose to do that? By saying it? Because the more you say it, the stupider you look.
It is the most organized most anti-gun legislation type groups have ever been. Usually it's like this big conglomerate of this is all bad, and then they all kind of do this. But I disagree for this, and I disagree for that, and then what about minorities? And it just turns into this big disaster. And that's one of the things that the gun culture has going forward is that we have this solidifying thing, called the Second Amendment and rights, and we're like that's our thing, that's our fixture, that's our anchor. And these guys, it just turns into this big emotion diarrhea that just spreads everywhere, and they can't get a focus point to do any kind of damage at all. And that's why I put no value in whatever they do other than it's the feels and the butt hurts.
So, open carry everywhere at the NRA annual meetings in Nashville. Did you guys notice
yes.
Open carry?
John had a very specific incident with that,
really?
Right?
All I did was I took a picture of a guy. His name was, I believe, Chuck. I don't know. I just friended him on Facebook.
He's a good guy.
Yeah, he's a good dude. He was open carrying in a very nice holster made by a good friend of ours, Jeremiah Savoy. And I took a picture of it and sent it to him. Sent it to the guy who made the holster. I said, "Hey, look, this is pretty cool." He's carrying a 1911 cocked and locked in the holster. And apparently, people all over Facebook were making a big stink about it. Like, "Oh man, it's so dangerous to be at the NRA convention carrying an open carry 1911. Oh my God, so terrifying!" Like, I don't understand why there's so much hate for open carry, especially at a thing like that. Like, I get it; it's tactical, you lose advantage, but if somebody chooses to do that, good on them. They at least are carrying a gun.
Well, it's like the perfect place to wear your barbecue gun, quote unquote.
Right. I was told multiple times during the weekend that I should have been wearing a Chrome Desert Eagle on my hip, but I did not bring it with me, unfortunately.
No, the cheetah print one, right? Or what was the one you wanted?
They have a zebra one now, which is like my new favorite thing.
What is your thing with the zebra?
It's not the zebra stripes with the golden titanium. It's actual zebra stripe. That is hideous, and I love it. My favorite part about the open carriers is the guys that just kind of, you can tell they never carry. So when they go to an event like this, they just apparently there was one guy that had it. It was cross draw just in the belt, but like the muzzle was in his pocket or something. Like, it was amazing.
There's also the super tactical thigh rig that's right above the kneecap, and the gun is basically just kind of hanging off at a 90-degree angle. Like, hey,
just flopping around.
Anybody wants to take me? Anybody. This Velcro strap from Blackhawk is not going to stop you.
Yeah, we saw
Uncle Mike's. Yeah.
We saw one or two paddle holsters that the paddle was like just between the belt and the outside of the pants instead of the.
I saw that picture. The thing that I think was very kind of eye-opening for me was that not so much during the show, well, yeah, I guess during the show as well as after the fact, to see how the media genuinely spins this. So with most other gun shows in the world, firing pins are either clipped or removed. There's no available ammo. The guns are there to be handled, manipulated, felt, and genuinely hands-on experience. So they're like, oh, NRA show, all the media, NRA show, you're not even allowed to have, actual guns there, blah, blah, blah. You took the firing pins out. Oh, you don't trust your own people. And it's like, when you have that many people handling firearms, let alone someone, some crazy zealot was one of the other things I heard, like say a Moms Demand Attention decided to just take one 5.56 round, go into the show, drop it in the chamber, send that slide or that rail or that carrier home, and pop one round off. That ruins it for everyone. But if you have a bunch of responsible citizens walking around, locked and cocked or concealed carry, that's that person's individual responsibility. And the way the media has spun that around, it just amazes me. There were so many guns, not just on the shelves, but people actually, responsible American citizens walking around with them.
I mean, at least one or two people in our crew walking around was armed the entire time. Now,
Right.
We travel, and there's not always an opportunity to bring our own firearms and carry and all that kind of stuff. So I know people would be like, oh, well, why don't you carry every single day? Sometimes you can't when you travel. It's not always a can. It's just anyway. I don't want to get into that argument.
But even the bars, though, that was the best part. So up and down Broadway, which anybody who knows Tennessee knows what Broadway is. For those of you that don't, it's like their own little country version of like Bourbon Street. There was like multi-layered bars, cigar bars, restaurants. NRA locked down like the whole road, and there was like 2 nights of country concerts, which I was just far and away from, but it was cool nonetheless because everyone's wearing cowboy boots. And every window on every bar, every restaurant, even the candy shop we went to, had a big pistol with a line through it. And not a single person gave a damn.
Yeah, nobody.
Notice nobody got shot. So I mean, it's stuff like that where it's like, oh, we'll take your money, but any other day of the week,
Well, what was ironic was a lot of them had "Welcome NRA," Bud Light,
right.
"Welcome NRA,"
Right.
and had a no gun sign next to it.
It was amazing.
Yeah, I think the first time I saw it, I pointed and laughed. And the door, like I had the door there, and the doorman, he's standing there watching me. I'm like, really? Yeah, okay.
The hypocrisy alone, because you know how much rev that probably generated for the city of Nashville, as well as for all those business owners and small business owners. I'm not talking about the guy who owns six different restaurants on that strip, but like the smaller shops alone. It's like, how much money did you take in from that week? No one got hurt. Nobody got bothered. Nobody got harassed. It wasn't open carry Texas. But that sticker no.
So, the Glock 43 premiered, and the Glock held an event on Thursday. Did either of you attend the Glock event?
I didn't get there in time.
Nope.
Okay. Well, you point there. I didn't get there in time either. Did you guys handle it though at the show?
It was like SHOT Show when they announced the 42. It just turns into this mosh pit of you're never touching that gun. I was lucky enough. I was just talking to John about this. Just yesterday, me and the wife went to our local gun spot, Riley's up in Hooksett, and they had one. So I got a chance to hold it, and I'm not going to lie, I like it. I haven't shot it, but general feel, it's just a smidge bigger than the 42, which was like, look, I have a gun. And the 26 or the 19 even, so that thinness really feels really nice. The wife instantly fell in love. The only part that has me concerned is the actual trigger, and that's because it feels a lot harder. Same reset, same sharp break, same better trigger than every other Glock before the 42, but it felt like a lot harder of a pull. Like the weight felt a lot tougher, so to speak. I don't know if that's because it's a single, maybe the striker, or not the striker, the connector and all that fun stuff. Maybe that's more compacted. I don't know. But it definitely was a different trigger pull by comparison to the 42, the 26, the 19. But yeah, I so far I'm dying to get my hands on it.
Yeah, I was pretty impressed with the feel of it as well. I played with it a little bit at the NRA show, and I'm using my XDS as comparison to it, and I still prefer my XDS, but I definitely want to get my hands on it, take it out to the range, and get a little range time with it. So moving on, final thoughts, NRA show.
It was a good time. I'll definitely be going back next year.
And I want to give a shout out to listeners that came out to the Firearms Radio Network listener meetup on Saturday night. It's cool to see you guys. And look forward to Louisville,
Kentucky,
2016. Yeah.
I want to see it in Boston. I bet your Mom's Demand actually get at least 300 of that one.
I want to see it in Chicago.
Ooh.
I love Chicago. Everybody always. I love that town. Well, should I say downtown, not the south side.
So, coming soon from Zenith Firearms E5, which is a licensed MP5 pistol. John, you're an H&K guy. What do you think?
I don't quite understand. I mean, it's cool. I love a lot of people know I like HKs. I really, really like HK machine guns, particularly, and the MP5 is no exception to that. It's one of my favorite machine guns to fire. This being a semi-auto pistol version, slightly different. This isn't the first MP5 copy that we've seen in the U.S. There's plenty of companies out there that do it. There's a company that does a really nice clone, Dakota Tactical. They do a really, really nice job. This kind of, to me, falls in that same line. Being licensed or not matters very little in this kind of market, where it's more quality of fitment and all that sort of thing. And without having my hands on this, it's just kind of like, oh, okay, cool, I guess. The CZ Scorpion that this thing is going to constantly be compared to is kind of an awesome gun. It's very low recoil impulse, somewhat decent trigger. The safety's a little lacking, but I shot the CZ and it was pretty nice, and I don't know that a gun that's got old technology like an MP5 clone is going to do it to, kind of knock it out. And then on top of that, here's a kicker. Chris just released a 9mm variant of the Vector. Now, will that be in a pistol right away? Doubtful, but I'm sure it'll eventually land as a pistol. And it's in that same vein, new technology versus this old MP5 stuff. You know?
I think the first line of the article says it perfectly. The Sig Sauer MPX and CZ Scorpion may be the latest and greatest, comma, but the MP5 is 100% classic cool.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
Yeah, you know what else is classic cool? A 92 FS. Yeah, but no one's buying that. So all we're doing is we're finding a way for H&K to get a little bit more dollar by licensing this off to somebody else who can make it a little bit cheaper and still, meet those specs. I personally don't care. Everyone can write into Jake Challen and be like, Whitey's a communist because he doesn't like the MP5. Screw that gun. It's done. It's dumb. I'm okay with it. Just shoot an MPX.
Email is flooding in as we speak. So do you think these pistol variants? I'm thinking, this might be kind of a short-term fad. It seems like the 6-hour brace may have kickstarted it, or made it get a little bigger than it was going to.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder, 3-4 years from now, is anyone really going to care about pistol carbines?
There's a few things that kind of weigh heavily on that changing and shifting, and I think you're spot on. I actually, before the Sig Brace came out, a buddy of mine bought an AK pistol, and it was cool, but it's kind of a niche thing. It's not really practical in any way, and the Sig Brace and the other options similar to that have completely changed the pistol market. These kind of rifles made into pistols are absolutely amazing with the different braces and things like that are quote unquote not supposed to be shouldered. I don't know. It's unless the NFA changes for whatever reason, the SBR laws change. This is not going to change for a while. I think that's going to continue to see innovation and workarounds until the NFA is changed, because people will realize the guy who designed that Sig Brace changed the firearms industry. He opened people's eyes to a new realm. He said, you know what? We can get around this nonsense that the ATF is perpetrating on us by putting a brace on there. And it's kind of amazing.
I wonder if it happened by accident, even where it's like they got the letter back and they're like, "Did you see this loophole? This gaping loophole? Yeah, run it. Let's go." I think John's spot on. I think because AR pistols and these platforms have been around for a long time. This isn't like a new technology. So by including that Sig Brace, for instance, in the couple variants, including the newer version they came out with, which is pretty cool as well. I think you're spot on. I think John nailed it. It's going to be here until either the ATF starts, lighting more fires and getting more people up in arms, the way they've done in the past year alone, where they have people panicking. Can I shoulder it? Can I shoulder it? Can I shoulder it? Can I not shoulder it? Or God willing, some NFA gets stripped, removed, which would be awesome, because I'd love to, put a couple collapsible stocks on some of my pistol action. But
real quick, I'd like to point something out to the listeners. To date, it is April 16th, 2015 on the recording here, and no one has been prosecuted by the ATF for shouldering a Sig Brace.
Nailed it.
It has not happened. It has not happened. So just be aware that in general, it's very rare for the ATF to actually prosecute anybody. Just want to put that out there.
Man attacked in Walmart, won't open carry again. So a 32-year-old man was shopping with at least 3 children at a Yakima, Washington Walmart. Probably saying that completely wrong, but he was a victim of an unprovoked assault when a stranger picked up a metal T-ball bat and struck him.
Oh my God.
So this is kind of a crazy story. He's just shopping with his kids, looking for like a T-ball helmet or glove or something, and this disheveled-looking guy just kept like walking up and down the aisle, like eyeballing him. And this guy, had enough situational awareness to take note of this. And all of a sudden, this homeless-looking dude, he picks up a bat and goes to swing full force at this guy's head. And the guy had enough awareness to step into the swing and block it with his shoulder. And then he drew his gun, because he was carrying like a Sig or something. And he didn't have a round in the chamber. He racked the slide.
Oh,
and,
man.
Yelled at the guy, get on the ground, and gave him the commands and everything to, hold him there until police came. And this is just a crazy, crazy incident to be, it's just out of the blue. Out of the blue, guy shopping with his kids, and the best they can chalk it up to is that this crazy guy that picked up the bat, they think may have been going after this guy's gun that he wanted, because this guy was open carrying his 6-hour, that he wanted this guy's gun.
There's a lot you can take away from this article. There's a bunch of different things that went right, wrong, whatever. The first and foremost, we talked about this earlier, the open carry loss of tactical advantage. If it's covered and no one can see it, this sort of thing where we assume, we're going to go ahead and assume that this guy was attacked because he was carrying a gun. Typically that doesn't happen when no one knows you're carrying it. The other interesting thing is, while I don't advocate carrying on an empty chamber, I think that's silly, he actually remembered to rack it. He didn't panic and pull the trigger on an empty chamber, so that's pretty cool. The guy did what he was supposed to do and didn't overreact, it seems. I don't know. What, Josh, did you get anything else out of this?
I got Bob Owens, I might, if I can, track this down, I'm going to keep this open so I can see some more. I think he wrote an amazing article. I think the first paragraph alone really, really stuck with me, because it's being forced to shoot means that your situational awareness has failed, your defensive measures have failed, and you have no good options left. That one line alone is volumes to what I think a good majority of people who carry a firearm for protection of themselves, their family, and others, that a lot of people don't see, especially the anti-gun side, where it's like, we're not running around looking to shoot people. It's just not the reality of it. And being forced to shoot means that your situational awareness has failed. So we look to distance from danger. We look to not get into a confrontation. We look to not escalate things. That one paragraph and that one sentence really just, Bob Owens really poetic in how he actually put that out there. The other thing that was a takeaway for me, and again, I wish an anti-gun person would read this article, violence happens, period. Now, could it be because of the gun? Until, I'm making air quotes for those of you listening along, until Trevor comes out and says, I wanted that gun, we don't know. We don't know if that's why. But even then, he's willing to take a bat to someone who he can visibly see is carrying a gun to try and acquire that gun illegally with violence. So how many more laws can we make for Trevor to break for that to not happen? Because the answer is 0. You can't do any kind of legislature at all that's going to stop, air quotes again, Trevor from actively breaking the law to acquire a firearm whilst breaking the law to further break the law.
Well, unless we take away all guns, then that would,
Shut your mouth. This is not Australia, Jake. And I swear I will drive out there.
Well, if we're going to live in fantasy land, I want $1 million too, Jake. How about that?
Yeah,
let's just make something that exists not exist suddenly.
I'll take a double, and a unicorn can pee on me with rainbow sprinkles.
I like that. Can I shoot a zebra in the Miracle Land? Oh, Josh is so mad at me for that.
Shoot a zebra with a zebra-printed Desert Eagle?
I want to do that. I'm sorry. You can
It'd be a whole video.
Yeah, that would be a long story.
So, yeah, I encourage you guys to check this out. You're right. I agree. Whitey Bob did an awesome job with his article over at bearingarms.com. So NRA's Eddie Eagle gets a facelift. Eddie Eagle gun safety video 2.0. Did you guys watch this?
I did. I think I'm going to jump in front of John on this one and say, as a father, a lot of the things that I struggle with, because I was not raised, for those of you just tuning in, I was not raised hunting. I was not raised around guns. I was not raised by a military household. I have zero experience. My mom, I'm pretty sure, voted for Obama twice. That's the kind of environment I come from. So,
I did
oddly
a
enough,
job vetting you for this show. I just
horrible job. That's why we pay you in candy bars. So, what it boils down to is that I don't have a lot of experience with bringing up a child, let alone two, with firearms in the house, let alone running a firearms website, having a bunch of trainer buddies who swing by, dirty potty mouths, all that fun stuff. So a lot of the things that I've learned to both protect my children and educate my children is by talking to a lot of police officers, talking to trainers, talking to former military personnel that have and deal with children on a regular basis. And it kind of intrigued me. My kids watch a lot of, Doc McStuffins, Octonauts, pick a 3D cartoon animated show that's on Disney Junior, and they're on it. They know the songs, they know the words. I already sent the video off to the wife. I'm really curious as to what her opinion was, because it's not a bad thing. They made a catchy tune out of, sing it. Can you sing it for me, John?
I'm not going to sing it. But it was catchy. It's immediately was in my head.
And from a child's standpoint, they can associate with these different birds as different both demographics as well as personality traits that they would experience at that age group. They had the nerdy kid, they had the gamer kid, they had the Latina, they had the we'll say African American, I guess, type characters. So I mean, and they were all cooperative. They all played. There was teamwork. The parents were reassuring, and a lot of education, and a meeting, and talking, and educating. And there's a trendy song that they did over and over and over again. Now, is it 8 minutes and 45 seconds, or however long it's worth necessary? No, but I guarantee if I put this on, my kid will pay attention to it. Yeah, he'll absolutely. So I think it's a good step in the right direction for NRA.
When was the old Eddie the Eagle thing around? I don't remember that as a kid.
I think right around the same time as Patches O'Houlihan and Dodgeball, where it's like that grainy, crackly.
If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
5 Ds are dodgeball. Dodge, dip, duck, dive, and dodge.
So good.
That like post World War II, 50s, 60s, gym class video. That was the last Eddie Eagle I saw.
So my stance on this, I don't have kids. I can't weigh in that regard. But my stance on this is I think it's a really smart thing for the NRA to do this. We don't see a lot of good media come from the NRA, no matter how much they try and shove stuff down our throats. This is a good thing to spread out and try and educate. We as firearms supporters constantly talk about how the NRA is there to educate and spread awareness, and typically that's through classes and seminars and things like that, but that's not for everybody. Branching out into different types of media and especially stuff that, Josh's kids watch, that's an important thing. Really nailing exactly, they're going, okay, they already love this kind of stuff. Let's do our own version, likable characters, quickly introduce them and all that sort of stuff and execute. And it's a little long, but the point is driven home quite clearly, which is, what was it? Don't touch. You're muted. There you
go. It was run, don't touch, run, tell an adult, and that's exactly. I mean, it's to the point where I'm starting to deal with code words, which is going to sound really weird and right-wing tinfoil hat weary, but one of the hardest things about growing up for kids is kind of being alienated or ostracized or not part of like a cool crowd or even having friends. So if he's over a friend's house and I'm not there or something like that, I want him to be able to call me or tell an adult or something, a code word, so that way he's not openly, ratting out his friends or being a tattletale, things like that, but a way that we can both communicate where he's like, I need to be out of here. So we're already starting to work on things like, hey, how's Trouble doing, or how's Lucy doing, which are our cats. And that's my cue to be like, you're not in trouble. I'm coming to get you right now. Be ready, and I can be the bad guy. As a parent, I have no problem being the bad guy. I'll take one on the chin from another dad. I'll sit there and let a mom bitch me out. But my kid's not going to be put in that kind of environment, and I don't need him and his friends. They could be like, dude, your dad's a dick. That's fine, as long as my kid's not shot because some other chucklehead didn't put his gun away properly. So it's things like that I've had creative kind of breeding, and I'd love to see them do another video, if not more videos, especially going over like the four major rules, which I still go over, and I keep telling him he can't even shoot a rascal until he's got those rules memorized. We're up to 3. He's got 3 memorized.
So, yeah, this is a well done video, and it is almost like they're setting up to do many more videos or even a series, maybe.
And I genuinely hope they do.
Totally.
You won't see me really sitting there waving the NRA flag like crazy, like, oh my God, it's the best things in sliced bread. I think they could fix a lot of things. This is a good step in the right direction. I really appreciate them doing it.
Yeah, I'm going to share this with my kids as well this weekend and see what their reaction is. Now my oldest is 5, so.
Yeah, mine too.
Okay, so yeah, I'm curious what.
So he's probably watching like Octonauts and stuff too. I mean, he started dabbling Voltron or Power Rangers, things like that.
Yeah, Power. Oh,
Cars, Wings,
Power
or
Rangers.
planes.
Shoot me now.
Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. I mean, this looks like the same exact quality of 3D animation as Mickey Mouse Clubhouse.
Yeah, it is quality animation, and I think it's got a lot of potential. Because if they do develop it into a series, they could, week after week build in, the safety rules, and make that repetitive, the education part repetitive, but also have a story that goes along with it. That my dad goes competitive shooting once a week, or something along that line. I don't know.
As long as they don't try and turn it into a political platform. Like the NRA is good, kids. That kind of stuff will sink that ship in a hurry. Yeah. But if they stick to safety and education on firearms in general and not politics to the younger crowd, that's a good thing.
And the good part about it is that they continue down this path and they keep it pure.
Yeah.
And they don't go too nuts like you're talking about. Then people like Moms Demand Attention can't hop in and say the NRA is brainwashing our kids, because none of that message says we don't want to teach kids that. You look like an absolute idiot if you're like, why is the NRA teaching our kids to not touch guns and run away and tell an adult? That's stupid. I mean, you could twist it and be like, how bad is the gun violence in our country? We have to tell our kids not to touch guns because we can find them anywhere. Like, cops lose their guns. There was another article, I don't know if it was here or on my own Facebook feed or something like that, I saw 17 pistols, 11 rifles, and like 2 short-barreled shotguns by this one police department. One police department were marked as lost.
That's amazing.
So it's not even like irresponsible me. It's the people that you want carrying guns can't even keep track of these things. So it's like...
Just to be fair, I've never lost a gun. And the second thing I want to mention... The anti-gun lobby, they have promoted such things as removing a gun from your parents' dresser drawer and then taking it to school.
Concealed. Giving it to your teacher.
And then throwing it on your teacher's desk. They did advocate that. I made a video about it, for God's sake.
Yeah. Polish politician says Holocaust preventable if every Jew had a gun.
Facts.
Not wrong. Not wrong.
The Warsaw Ghetto proved.
Right.
If only a few had guns alone, they were able to stave off all them Nazis. Just a few of them. Imagine. And this is the hardest pill for 95% of Jewish people to understand. Stop being a victim. It's throughout history Jews have been victims. Whether you're building somebody's pyramid or you're going in somebody's gas chamber, stop being a victim. And the only person... they're very religious. I've grown up in both sides, the Roman Catholic as well as having been bar mitzvahed. And let me tell you, just the culture is meant to be, they have their warriors they put on pedestals, but as a culture they need to be more, kind of proactive in their own protection and bring back that warrior culture of the Maccabees and all those that will fight and smite down evil. This is valid. This is absolutely valid, and Warsaw Ghetto proved that, in my opinion. I'm a little passionate about it.
A little bit. That's a good thing, though. I think what's really interesting is that typically we don't see this sort of talk come out of Europe.
Right.
A lot of the anti-gun lobbyists and that movement, they love to compare us to England and other countries in Europe where the gun laws are a lot more strict, and they like to neglect the fact that someone had their head chopped off in public in London.
Right. For funsies.
Right. I think it's really interesting, especially Poland. That's pretty interesting, and I would love to see more of this. And I think we will as our entire society worldwide continues to evolve. We're going to see more of this sort of thing, more people speaking out about the truth.
You may also have Poland looking over at Russia like the way that Germany looked over before, too, with the way, Putin's acting over there. Maybe they're next.
Right.
So, I mean, I would not be surprised to see a lot more of Europe start to take that stance.
Well, I mean,
amazing.
Yeah, it would sure dissuade Russia. If all the countries surrounding it had gun laws like America, if they were armed like Americans are armed, it would certainly, I think, stabilize Europe.
I think the world would be a really interesting place if the same mentality. I think was it Mao that said that behind every blade of grass there is a rifle.
It's a mistaken quote. Everyone said Yamamoto said it, but in fact he never actually said it. It was just some weird translation.
Well, it's a very well-known thing, and that phrase.
One can never
invade
mainland China, for there is a rifle behind every blade of grass.
Yeah, I think
something like that.
That would be very interesting if that held true around the world.
Yeah. So you can now contribute to the Firearms Radio Network and This Week in Guns by shopping our Amazon affiliate link. You can purchase tons of books, history books there to get your history quotes correct by going to firearmsradio.tv/Amazon. We are to the full auto news segment, stories the real media won't talk about and other crazy stuff. I actually had a listener comment that stop saying that because you guys are the real media.
Oh, sweetheart.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice. Whoever said that, air high five through the internet, right there.
Technically, you're reading it from somebody else. I mean, it's their media. But.
So I always do air quotes, when I say real media, so it's kind of tongue-in-cheek anyways. But, yeah, I appreciate that. So this is where we each take a story to talk about on the lighter side of things. So, John, do you have one you want to start with?
So I'll start with one. The headline is a video released of deadly parking lot brawl with Christian band. It's a police video. It's a dash cam video. Jake pointed this out to me before the show, and he says, you got to watch this. So the video is 8 minutes and 53 seconds long, and typically, when you watch a dash cam video, it's like 30 seconds of action, and then, somebody gets hurt in some way, tackled, whatever, and it's over. This was like a straight-up street brawl. I have never seen a dash cam video like this. It was 8 minutes. It was like the Royal Rumble with the cops versus a Christian band. It was really, really intense. A lot of punching in the face. Like the cops showed up, and within seconds, it's like 40-some seconds into the video, there's people on the ground, punches being thrown on both sides. And the kicker about this is that, what was it, like 3 minutes or so into the video, I think? I'm not sure where it was.
Somewhere around there.
There's like a tussle going on. I mean, it's hard to keep track of exactly what's happening in every spot because of where the camera is, but I guess one of the kids, one of the guys, the young guys in the tussle, got a hold of a cop's gun and discharged it into the cop's leg. And I guess a couple seconds later, one of the other cops realizes that one of his buddies is shot, and he goes over and lights the kid up right there. Just one shot, and he drops. And then I guess he died right there. I mean, there's no really good way to know, but this is an absolutely intense video. For those of you out there that can't handle that sort of thing, I wouldn't suspect that, but I think it's an educational thing on how quickly situations like this can degrade and how overwhelmed police can get in a bad situation. There's like two or three of them, and they go into a crowd of maybe 6 to 8 people, and it just all hell breaks loose right away.
Yeah, and there's several instances where all the cops are down on the ground brawling with these people. I mean, like, it's crazy.
They're like hitting them with batons. They're kicking them in the face, trying to get these guys to submit. And the one guy, there's like an adult, that I guess like a chaperone, that drives the free candy mobile that's towing the band around, and he's telling the guy, "You're being a Nazi." Like, you can hear him saying it in the video, and like a cop pushes him aside and then goes and tackles another kid that's starting to fight again. I mean, they in situations like this, you got to say you understand where the police are coming from, because they're trying to control the situation. When they roll up and it's just an all-out brawl, they have to do their jobs, and this is in a Walmart parking lot. This isn't like somebody's backyard.
It was almost like the cops was the gas on the match that was already burning. I mean,
right.
No one knows, and I'm not trying to put blame on the cops by any means, because no one knows what that straw on the camel's back is going to be. And who knows what would happen if the cops never showed up? Maybe it would have just been a bunch of dudes in the ER with broken fists and broken jaws. It could have also escalated and gotten way worse. I mean, it's a Christian band. Who knows? Those kids are crazy. So, I don't know. It literally, like you said, the cops showed up and it was like, all right, we're here for the rumble, and then boom, it happened. Like, that's exactly how fast, one, things can get out of hand, and two, it just seemed like maybe that was just the appearance, unfortunately, of law enforcement was enough to, like, just make it happen.
Yeah, I mean,
what happened? Yeah.
When they first roll up, you can see there's like a couple people like visibly arguing, pointing fingers and shaking their fists angrily, and I mean, there had to have been something that happened prior to the video to have the police called. Like the Walmart employees and people in the parking lot, they've seen some stuff. I mean, Walmart is a special place. They've seen people,
especially after dark. There's actually a Facebook group, Walmart After Dark.
Right. They've seen some things. So for them to call the police, especially in Arizona, a state that's all about freedom, they call the police, and there's a lot of context that we miss, and that happens in every single police video we've ever seen. There is so much context that's missing.
Including the one last week that everyone said it was a bad shoot, and now more evidence is coming out where that cop was justified.
Oh, dude, totally. I mean, myself included, I said, that's a bad shoot.
Right.
Based on what I could see, that was a bad shoot. Then they start dissecting what actually happened, and it's like, oh okay.
The guy got a taser on him, and he's dragging it with him, and it snapped back, and that's why it was behind the officer. You really can't tell, and we're in a society of I got it now, and I want to see it now.
Yeah, I got it. Easy. I'm going to judge it immediately.
Right, and I have an opinion and a law degree that I got from Facebook, so exactly.
My buddy who knows a lawyer told me that was right.
All right, Josh, what do you have?
I really want to talk about the 2015 Paladin, but I think more importantly, Japanese gun disarming technique.
So Josh is making a face right now, and it's quite amazing. You know that face when you're just so fed up with somebody that you grab your nose and just kind of go, that's what he's doing.
From the dumbs right now. So this is what happens that real people in your country own firearms, but the airsoft market is booming. I can't tell if this is just Japan punking us. It's literally like some 75 or 90-year-old. You can never tell with the Asian persuasion because they could be 150, they could be 12. So this one guy is like not only not really protecting himself from even airsoft pellets, but it's like he's doing like wrist locks with the firearms while he's got like a full-blown AR trained on him. It's like my first reaction was like, dude, you are chewed up by that AR instantly. And it's like, oh yeah, this is a totally good self-defense technique. It works. Many much love all times. Eat a cookie. I don't understand. Like, I literally, like, my brain like did that little. Who's the guy with the eye? Like, Forrest
you're
Whitaker.
talking about. Oh, I thought you were talking about Margarita.
No. Forrest Whitaker eye was like, what did I just watch? And it's like 3 minutes of this guy just. If those are real guns, he would be shot so many times. Like,
right.
So many.
Right. It's a great disarming technique if you're bulletproof.
Right. For senior citizens, maybe with Colt single-action armies, like, I don't know. Maybe he'll catch one massive lead slug in the spine.
So this video brings something to mind, a story I heard recently. I heard this story from Jared of Rockwell Tactical Group, and he tells a story about breaking away from repetitive like double taps, and things like that. And this particular video is very similar to an example he uses. So he tells a story about a cop that's at a gas station pumping gas, and somebody comes up and sticks a gun in his face, and the cop immediately disarms the guy. And because they had recently been training to do that, what he did exactly what he would do in his training and handed the gun right back to the guy. And then the cop got robbed because he handed the gun back. And that's exactly what's happening in this video. The guy is taking the guns and then immediately giving them back.
That reminds me of another cop story. Guy, I forget who told me, and whoever, if you're listening, I'm sorry if I didn't give you appropriate credit, but it was either SRT or FBI, so they breach, and they go in, guy gets up off the bed, goes to grab shotgun, machete, something within that proximity of he's getting dropped. And the guy did double tap down. The guy went on the bed, and he went to move on, because boom, boom, moving on. And this guy literally hit the bed, came right back up, grabbed it, and came at him. And that's that double tap mentality, and that's what people worry about with defensive pistol use versus IPSC or IDPA or anything like that at all, because you get in that rhythm of doing it. So that's repetition happens.
So, I'm going with American Gun star arrested for stealing guns.
Hold on 2 seconds. All right, go ahead.
Richard Wyatt, owner of the gun store highlighted in the short-lived American Guns, turned himself into police Monday on an arrest warrant for stealing guns. The Wheatridge Police Department said the victim had consigned a rare and antique gun collection with Wyatt's store, Gunsmoke Guns, in 2013, but Wyatt failed to return the items. The charge of theft from an at-risk adult is a Class 3 felony.
American Guns, which followed a sheltered teenage girl in a family of gunsmiths, aired on the Discovery Channel for 2 seasons. It canceled in 2012. That is brilliant. That is such a slap in the face. It's not even funny.
I thought it was I didn't realize it was a teenage girl. I thought it was a giraffe. This family has gone through so much crap lately, and forgive me, I just can't stop laughing at them.
Look at the... so listen, I have no ill will towards this family. They never did anything to me. I could care less. But look at his mugshot. I mean, you could see that he took his reading glasses off and smiled for the picture because they're hanging right there on his orange jumpsuit. Like, oh, hold on.
I mean, they had to know. Like, this guy, when you're typically firearms store owners meet the local PD, they know them, they have conversations with them, they're friends.
Sold stuff to them, right?
Right, they're friends. So Rich Wyatt goes in there and goes, hey everybody, hey, and then he's like, it's nothing. It's pretty funny. It's pretty funny to me.
All right. Well, should we touch on any of the African stories, the giraffe or the white rhino? No.
I don't know. I mean, it's sad about the white rhino. Apparently, that is an almost extinct species, and that in itself is pretty sad. And apparently, the last male is being guarded.
Yeah, it's the last male. So I mean, if he goes down, there is no more babies. So all you feminists out there, see, we
do matter.
Well, what's funny is, it was not really funny, but I just saw somebody else posted earlier this week that another rhino species is actually extinct.
Yeah, I saw that. I believe it was wasn't it the
black rhino? It was an ugly one. I don't know. It had like two horns that were like ran off in different directions. He was like, yeah, Darwin, but I don't know. It's hard to sit there and say that it's natural selection when you know it's poachers. But at the same time, if you're a religious person, how do you know those poachers aren't part of the natural selection?
Yeah. This is not the first time, and it will not be the last, unfortunately, that the human race eradicates something from the surface of the earth.
Dinosaurs did it too, not for nothing.
Speaking of Darwin, bullet ricochets from armadillo and strikes shooter's mother-in-law.
I call this the Archer article.
So, yeah, did anyone watch the video here? I didn't watch it.
Oh, it didn't have any cool 3D animations or simulations. It was some bald dude talking in a crappy dash cam. So essentially what happened in the article was that they shot with a 9mm an armadillo. It ricocheted off of a fence and then traveled through the back door of, shockingly, his mother-in-law's mobile home, and then through the recliner that she was sitting, and it got her in the back. 75-year-old. How does that? That's like, what?
Yeah, that's a once in a lifetime thing.
How do you not crack a beer to talk to the cops on that one?
Well, what had happened was...
So what happened here, officer, was we was shooting. I told him not to use the 9mm, but that's what we had. That Dilla was looking sideways at me.
I didn't realize they had armadillos in South Carolina.
Oh,
I thought that was like a Southwest thing. I don't know.
Oh, they're all over. They're like infesting the whole South, and they're moving.
John, I thought it was like
north.
Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas.
No, they'll be up in Pennsylvania before you know it.
John, don't use a 9mm.
Do you honestly think that of everything I have, I would grab a 9mm to kill something?
No, you'd probably slap that. You'd probably get a Salvo 12 just for Dillo clearing.
I'll take the Beowulf out there and just make it go pop.
I would be curious to see that.
It would be glorious.
All right, well, that brings us to the tail end of the show. So, John, I'm with Chaos and Patent Media. What's going on?
Lots of cool things behind the scenes. We're actually shooting a kind of test episode for something new that's coming this summer. We're shooting that tomorrow. So that's pretty exciting. Lots of the same. I'm doing a lot of traveling, supporting some of my clients for Patent Media, growing the business. It's a pretty amazing ride, and there's some big things on the horizon, and I'm really genuinely excited about it, and I can't wait to see what people think when we finally are able to release it.
Very cool. Is it going to be like Eddie Eagle? Isn't that?
I figured I would do my own horribly animated version.
Freddy the Falcon.
Freddy the Falcon and
Oscar the Ostrich.
He's going to be a potty mouth.
Right. It's like the summers when there's like two action movies that are like the same movie, like White House Down and.
Was it called White House Down?
Yeah, White House Down, and what was the other one?
White House Down.
Wasn't it?
No, you're mixing Black Hawk Down with.
No. There really was a White House Down movie.
No, there's Olympus. Olympus has fallen.
And White House Down.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was White House Down.
The internet's. Hold on.
You go right now.
White House Down.
So I figured I'd release a horribly.
Holy crap! It is with Channing Tatum and Jamie Foxx as the president.
That's right. White House Down was terrible.
White House Down.
Anyway, sorry, John.
I'm not sorry. That's awful.
No, it's really it's a lot of fun. We've got a lot of really cool ideas, and we're trying to piece things together. And I know content has been kind of slow because of that. I'm traveling a lot, and we're trying to put things together for the future. So for those of you that are regular content viewers of mine, bear with me. It's going to be awesome.
There's also the volcano one. The volcano one with one had Tommy Lee Jones and one was Pierce Brosnan, and Pierce Brosnan clearly does not beat Tommy Lee. So I mean,
Dante's Peak and Volcano.
There it is.
I never saw Volcano. I saw
Dante's Peak. The lady jumped in the lake of acid and lost her legs. It was amazing.
Funny. That happened in Volcano too, and it was the public transit guy who was saving a dude out of the back of the subway, jumped into the lava and threw him, and then died in the lava. Oh, so.
And there is your 90s trivia movie thing.
Yeah, right.
All right, Josh Cast, Four Guys Guns. What's going on?
I'm in the same boat as John. We've just been traveling so much. We're a little behind on things. At the same time, we also are hopefully bringing on some people so that we can continue to do the travel and expansion of things to bring actually more content. We also have an open call for writers for Four Guys Guns as well that went out there, which is really cool because we've actually had about, I want to say 37 people, which I thought was amazing, actually come forward and say, hey, I'm interested, as well as 17 of those people actually experienced and semi-known or have their own blogs go really well with Four Guys Gun stuff. So very excited to see more content coming that is not just waiting for us to do like a review. Another cool thing is this guy right here, which should be dropping tomorrow. So this is our new Direwolf patch. It's PVC. It goes off of, where's our other one? So I have one, from our what we call the Iron Throne patch set, which is available on store.fourguysguns.com. This is a one-off of the.
That sounds familiar.
We'll call it Direwolf. And it's all black with glow in the dark. So in the darkness, you still perfectly see the wolf. It was really well done. So very excited about that. It's going to be a limited run, and that should go up tomorrow, being Friday.
What are those limited ones selling for, Josh?
We have not decided yet. It's going to be somewhere between $750 and $10 based on greed. So that's what it boils down to. I'd like to have something eloquent to say, but we haven't finalized a price on it yet because we want to get rid of a bunch of those Iron Throne ones. We may have over-anticipated people's desire for them. We sold a crap ton, don't get me wrong, but we're sitting on a bunch still. So there might be a sale in conjunction with maybe a big percentage off. Maybe you want to check it out. Just saying, though.
I'm just saying one of those is mine. I have money in my pocket right now. I'll give it to you through the internet.
We also take PayPal now, so.
Hold on. Is just enough monies?
Stop waving your banana in my face. I don't even want it.
Whoop, just kidding.
Well, next week on Terrible Movie Trivia, we'll be looking at Armageddon versus Deep Impact.
Boom, there's another one.
Jake Challand, Firearms Radio Network. What's going on in your neck of the woods?
What's going on? Well, we're hot off NRA show. We're putting up some NRA video content over on the AR-15 podcast YouTube page and also our Gun and Gear Review YouTube page. So you can check those out. And, looking to line up some great CEO founder interviews on Gun Guy Radio here in the following weeks, so stay tuned to that.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, very
I'll be on that show in roughly 2 years when I matter.
Yeah, once you hit the big leagues, we'll have to have you on, I guess.
Let's have an entourage.
All right, well, that about wraps us up this week. You can leave your feedback by commenting on the bottom of this YouTube video or the bottom of the show notes, which will be at thisweekinguns.com/113. Don't forget to leave us an iTunes review and subscribe. And don't forget, you can always contribute to This Week in Guns by shopping with our Brownells and Amazon affiliate links. Just visit our website, click through those banners before you shop, and it helps keep pro gun shows like this coming at you. Well, thank you, Josh.
Thank you, Jake. Thanks for having me. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you, John.
Thanks for having me, Jake. It's always fun, man.
And we'll see you next week.